For administrative expenditure, what I just want to say is that we propose a reduction of staff of 5% coupled by an increase of our working hour, so we maintain the same capacity as at a lower cost. Now, last thing is the revenue. I said we have a miracle system because revenue just adjusts to the level of expenditure, but it's not without a price. This graph, which seems a bit complicated, but there is an important things to learn from this graph. If you go in the past, basically the EU budget was financed from own resource. For example, there is only one duty, and we have a custom union. So when goods enter the EU, it's normal that the proceeds of the taxation of the EU coming within Europe will not go to the member states which collects it, because otherwise Netherlands would be very rich, because most of the goods entering Europe comes through Rotterdam and a bit Antwerp in Belgium. So Netherlands and Belgium would be the big tax collector for custom duty. So of course, the duties, they decide from the start that it would finance the EU budget. It's normal. The problem is that with globalization, there is no custom duty anymore. So this revenue, which is somewhere here, which is these green things, just go down. So you cannot finance the EU budget from custom duty anymore. There was also a VAT-based resource, something when you buy goods, you have VAT, of course, and part of the VAT was supposed to go to finance the EU budget, but it was, in fact, it's a very complicated system. I don't know, to be frank, but it's not really related to VAT. It's more a budget. It's more like financed directly from the member state budget. And finally, you have this balancing, supposedly balancing revenue, which is in fact taking the money from the member states' coffers, which is called the GNI-based resource. With some balance. And you see, this is a wild one, and it becomes very huge. It represents 85% now of the budget. This means that once, as soon as you have expenditure, people say, oh, I spend it, and how much do I have to? I will receive this money, because if it's EU expenditure, it will be money flowing to the member state. But they say, okay, fine, I will receive this money for cohesion policy, for example. But how much do I pay for it? And the focus is on the net balance. What is the balance between what I receive from EU and what I'm paying for EU? Of course, if the budget was financed with custom duties, nobody would speak about balance. Of course, because it's not because it comes from Rotterdam that it's Netherlands paying for the EU budget. But if it's from, and especially now with the crisis, this means that it goes to the deficit. This amount is part of the saving, the 3% saving and the deficit and the thing like this. So people are very not very happy with the present situation. So the Commission proposed two things. The first thing, the Commission wants to have own resource again, like it was at the beginning. And it starts to think, what can I have as own resource? And it came with two proposals. The most controversial one is the financial transaction tax. I'm not a specialist on the financial transaction tax, but the idea is to catch, I would say, two birds with one stone. This means first finance, well, not first, second financing the EU budget, and first, let's say, to have the financial sector paying for some part of the problem, and also with some smoothing of the trading pattern and everything that is well known from the economists about the advantage and the problem of a financial tax. Of course, the problem is that some member states, especially UK, do not like it at all. So this is clear. And another proposal is to, let's say, suppress the old VAT resource and to create a new one, more based on resource. Last things I want to say is, so the goal is to, you know, the pilot is the member states' contribution. The goal is to make it lower, to go for, I don't know what, yes, it's 78 plus a 10% VAT, so it was 85 or 88, I said, and to bring it back to 40. What I must stress is that, of course, if we introduce this new resource, we will not spend more. Spending is limited by saving, so it will just reduce the payment from national budget. We cannot spend more because we have more revenue. This is the other part of the miracle of the EU budget, of course. Okay? So, and the last thing which is important to notice, you have on the revenue side a lot of correction mechanism. You know, it's Margaret Thatcher, which she said, I want my money back, because she had no spending for agriculture, and she was a rich member state, well, rich. At the time it was not so rich, but relatively rich, and she had to pay a lot, and they agreed in Fontainebleau to have a correction mechanism. The problem is that this correction mechanism for the UK at least become powerfully complicated. I think that they said there are 3 persons in the Commission understanding, and nobody sure of the third one. And also it's a fixed system, so it's a permanent system. It doesn't correspond to reality, no. So it's quite unfair, this correction mechanism. There are no other correction from Netherlands, Sweden, Germany, and things. And the idea is to say, okay, we need some correction mechanism if there is some imbalance. This mechanism is to be related to the relative prosperity, and there is a purpose. So I think I complete the whole topic. There is a timing which shows us that we are not, we don't have plenty of time. And of course, if you want more information, there is